Egypt's industrial exports are shaping up to be the key driver of the economic recovery after COVID-19. Egypt planned to increase its exports to $100 billion over the long term, up from pre-pandemic levels of around $30 billion by shifting its focus towards more EU, African and Arab markets. The strategy that will drive this growth involves boosting national industries and increasing exports from small enterprises. In addition, export logistics will be enhanced, for example through the automation of import and export procedures. The program also involves developing Upper Egypt and various border areas, as well as supporting projects in the Suez Canal Economic Zone. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has also recently underlined the need to increase industrial investment and export levels. The president called for domestic industrialization and the localization of technology to be bolstered, for the gap between exports and imports to be closed, and for the use of foreign currency for imports to be reduced. Both public and private industrial zones are competing over the infrastructure they can provide and their ability to integrate the manufacturing and export processes. However, some issues have been reported with regard to the capacity of publicly funded industrial zones to connect incoming enterprises to infrastructure networks, particularly with regard to exports. The deal signed earlier this year between the General Authority for Land and Dry Ports and the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development is an indication of efforts to overcome logistical shortcomings. This is part of a comprehensive plan to establish a network of dry ports and logistical centers across the country. Such efforts should go a long way to spurring private sector investment in industry and driving a concomitant rise in income from exports. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and now we're joined over the phone by Dr. Nezar Sami, the Innovation and Technology Consultant. Dr. Sami, can you hear us, sir?
Yes, hello, Hani, how are you?
I'm very well, sir. Dr. Sami, now, talking about our exports that have exceeded $31 billion for the year 2021. Now, we've already entered a new age for the Egyptian economy that really focuses also on energy and renewable energy and gas, and we've only quite recently today signed a lot of exploration deals and agreements with many energy companies that looks to explore the Egyptian land for more oil. How big of a sector or a chunk of our exports will be dependent on exporting gas, exporting electricity, exporting solar and renewable energy? How much of the energy sector will constitute in the levels and the volumes of exports for the Egyptian economy?
Very good question, Hani. Thank you very much, and Happy New Year. And with the early rise of the 2022, we all read the report and the press release coming from the Ministry of Trade and Industry about the expectations and for the Egyptian exports in different industries as well, and we exceeded the $31 billion in that, and it comes through a lot of diversified sources of exports in one direction or another. So energy is one of those. Another thing is the petrochemicals and the fertilizer business actually presented a very big chunk of the exporters, and the major increase was in this sector. So when we compare numbers with the year 2019, we found like more than $6 billion increase in this amount, and most of them coming from this sector as well. So we can see that more than 30% or like more than 25% of the Egyptian export is coming from the energy sector as well. Also, some other coming booming sector as well, like the agri-business sector as well, is taking place in this area. Packaging sector as well is moving forward. Textile business, And we can easily relate all these things that with Egypt Vision 2030, that we have a diversified economy, a competitive, diversified economy based on innovation and knowledge. And we can see this implemented right now, and we are starting to harvest all the great efforts and mega projects integrated for the last period starting from 2022.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Sami, now Egypt will be a guest of honor at the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, which will be held in June 2022. Now, the trade exchange between Egypt and Russia has reached $3.3 billion from January to September 2021. Now, how much of a cooperation or a trade balance do you think Egypt will reach making deals with Russia, maybe starting off and manifested in the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum? Are we also joining in terms, are we going to be exporting gas, for instance, because Russia is one of the main producers of gas to the European continent? How are we going to cooperate with Russia next year? Or this
Fantastic.
year,
so let's give some insights about the World Economic Forum and how this forum is extremely important for dictating the economy strategy in the world. And inviting Egypt in such a forum is a remarkable steps towards the great success that have been taking place in the last period. And to give some insights for our audience for tonight, that we have this amazing project, which is the Decent Life or Haya Karima, and this project was nominated by the World Bank, by the United Nations, as one of the over decades, is one of the largest developmental projects in the world. So this is, we can see the importance of putting positioning, the repositioning of Egypt in that direction as well. With the cross-country relationship with Russia and other different countries, we can see that there is a mutual collaboration, and this is how we can talk about the integration and the collaboration with all our other countries. So when we talk about the energy level and talk about the gas and we talk about the oil as well, some other fields are extremely important about like in technology, like in agribusiness as well. So these are major elements in the collaboration, having some of the like diffusing the technology and transferring the technology from Russia to Egypt, as well as to this will be reflected back into in a product. This is actually an ultimate goal where we need to be on the global map of the energy, and we know that Egypt right now has a great position in the gas level as well. So collaboration with all different countries, and also there are some like diversified other applications and other technological aspects, not just only in the oil and gas field, but in other aspects like in other technology, and we see that something related to the military as well. So we can connect and link, connect dots together in this aspect.
Mm-hmm. Sir, now one final question. Egypt is aiming to reach $100 billion in terms of exports within the next 3 or 4 years. Now, are we going to reach that by reaching out for other markets, reaching out for Latin America, the Far East, or intensifying our already existing markets within the African states, Europe, the Gulf and Arab countries?
Definitely, yes, Hani, and it's remarkable. Again, it's all about diversification. And we can see for each and every sector, there is a point of presence in Egypt in that area. And we witnessed in the last period since 2017 the agreement between Egypt and in Latin America, and increasing the number of exports in some industries like in chemicals as well was there already in place. Also, we witnessed this with the European Union as well, with the fertilizer business. And thanks to COVID, this is the good side of the COVID, where many factories have been locked down and then even went to shut down and stop their operation. So those factories are started to, or this country started to depend on the Egyptian quality base, and this is what's a very important part, and we need to highlight the role of His Excellency the President of the Fattah al-Sisi when he mentioned that we need to depend on raising the issue of quality, again put it on table, either from exporting or importing as well.
Yes.
So Latin America is one of the emerging markets that Egypt is taking through. Also the European Union and Asia as well. So we also hoping that the BRICS, which is the Brazil, Russia, India, China,
yes,
are in the top agenda for Egypt to start the collaboration and exchanging as well. Also, one another place that we need to think and highlight is Africa. Africa is, again, there are, you know that Egypt right now is leading the COMESA,
yes,
and started to set the strategy for the exporting and industry in the COMESA from 2021 till 25. So Africa is another great dimension for Egypt to move forward in that potential as well.
Yes. Well, Dr. Nezar Sami, the Technology and Innovation Consultant, thank you very much for joining us. Quick word, how are we doing on our competitiveness, the products that we're exporting? In less than 15 seconds, Doctor.
Actually, I would like to close our episode today with two good news, which is Egypt commodity exports raised approximately 30% during 2021. In addition to Egypt advances 20 places in global competitiveness indicators. Yes. And this is a positive signal to the foreign investor to attract more FDI.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, as Dr. Roshdy has mentioned and as we've heard from our guests over the phone, Egypt is on the right track to achieve the $100 billion of exports, already exceeding $31 billion for 2021. Good news for the Egyptian economy, but unfortunately that's all the time we have for this edition of the Daily Debate. Thank you very much for joining us. Stay tuned for more coming up on Nile International. I'm Henny Saif. Thank you for joining us.